It's a pleasure to have an opportunity to share with you IBM's Client Zero story. Every business leader I talk to today has one thing in mind: how do I scale AI for my enterprise? What does that even mean? What are the use cases that we should go after? So at IBM, we think we've solved this problem. We think we've cracked the code on this one. I'm going to share with you that story. We call the story Client Zero because as we've been transforming IBM with data and AI, we've been leveraging all of our Blue Stack products. So all of our Blue software, our hardware, our consulting capabilities, we've been using to scale AI at IBM. I'm going to share with you that story today. So, I'm going to start with results. Hopefully it'll get some of your attention as far as what we've accomplished in a very short time frame. So we've been at this in earnest, Client Zero, for just about 3 years now, not quite 3 years. And the dirty little secret, I think, is that AI, it's not always AI first. It really is data first. You can scale AI for your enterprise with killer use cases with lots of ROI if you have trusted, integrated, and aligned data. If you don't, you'll struggle. That's the truth. So at IBM, we set off in really focusing on our data. We got our data right. We integrated our data from all over the company. And in IBM, we're a fairly large company, $65 billion of revenue, 280,000 employees. We operate in 170 countries around the world. Hardware, software, services, R&D, financing, very complex business. So it would have been easier for us to say, look, it's just too hard to integrate all of our data. In fact, we said that for many years. Then we decided we have to fix this problem. We have to integrate, align, and make sure we have a trusted source of truth for our company. So as we've built out Client Zero for IBM, just in the last 3 years, we've driven about $4.5 billion of productivity. And for the skeptics, productivity is measured by cost of shared services as a % of our total revenue. So it's a very basic industry metric around how productive or efficient you are in operating your company. And so this sort of improvement in a 3-year time frame is unheard of in industry. And for us, it was a proof point that data and AI can transform your company rapidly if you do it right. This has really been for us a flywheel because as we save money, we invest it back in our company, back in R&D, back in our Watson X portfolio, back in quantum computing, the things that are coming next. We invest in that. We also invest in our people and skilling up our people to understand AI and how to enable AI within their workflows. In the last year, in 2024, we deployed over 100 AI use cases within our IBM internal production workflows. This year, in 2025, we've doubled that year to date. So we're rapidly transforming IBM to become a data and AI-driven enterprise. One of the truths we've learned along the way, it is relatively easy to enable complexity in your enterprises. It is really hard to simplify your enterprises. Simplification of workflow, finance, quote to cash, marketing, HR, legal, all of the workflows you use to run your companies, it is difficult to radically simplify them. At IBM, we went after this. We had a little acronym. We're three-letter acronyms in just about everything we do. So eliminate, simplify, automate, ESA. It's sort of the mantra within the walls of IBM. We talk about it all day long. How do we simplify the next workflow? We start with eliminate because as a 114-year-old company, we have a lot of processes, a lot of workflows. And people that have been running those workflows for a while, they will hold on to those workflows very, very tightly and convince you that if you got rid of the workflow, your company would collapse. So we challenged all of those things. And so we did design thinking sessions where we brought experts in, small groups, for a day, a half a day, and we discussed what's the business outcome we're trying to drive, what is the workflow in the simplest fashion that leads to that outcome, and then how do we transform that? So eliminate, simplify, automate, and then AI infuse what's left. That's the play we've been rerunning in IBM across all of our workflows in the company. We started with finance. We followed with sales operations, then marketing, then HR, quote to cash, et cetera. We have most of IBM's workflows now fully integrated into a common integrated data model and AI infused. The basics. These are the basic pillars for how you transform an enterprise. It starts with data and workflow. You enable that data and workflow with technology, and you bring your people along with you. You win over their hearts and minds that this is the future. It's not competing with you, it's augmenting and helping you. And we've spent a lot of time with our employees to understand that, and a lot of time with our employees with upskilling on understanding how to work with data and how to work with AI. The numbers on the bottom we'll go through very quickly. Our data work has saved probably $1 billion of that $4.5 billion. Most enterprises underestimate the cost of the data chase. If you think about your own companies and you think about how do you pull together your data analysis, your dashboards, your reports, how many people actually manually work in spreadsheets day and night, creating PowerPoints or other visuals? At IBM, we used to have legions of people that did that for a living. We called it the data chase. And we did a study to determine actually how much time did we spend chasing data. And it was 2/3 of a typical knowledge worker's time was spent chasing data. Finding, importing, exporting, cleansing, creating PowerPoints, changing the fonts on PowerPoints, and eventually sending it to someone in the company. That was our management system on IBM. Now most of our work is done what we call on the glass. We have an integrated data model running on the glass. Most of our IBM business meetings are done on the glass, sharing the same dashboard, drilling into the answer to our questions immediately, as opposed to flipping through PowerPoints. This is our simple business architecture, and you see it really starts on the bottom there with our data architecture. Most companies keep data in silos. Does that resonate with anyone? Yeah? I mean, think about it. Your finance data is in a finance silo. Your HR data is in an HR silo. Your quote to cash, your marketing, et cetera. Yet your flow of business is left to right. At least it is at IBM. Like, we start with demand generation, which leads to client interest, which leads to an opportunity in our CRM system, which then leads to contract, billing and invoicing, accounts receivable, client support. It's a left to right workflow. If your data and your systems are in silos, that slows down your company. It reduces your ability to understand the cause and effect of business decisions up front in your demand gen processes. How does that lead to revenue on the back end in your ledger? So if you flip, as we did, your workflows and your data sideways, you'll see you'll go really fast as a company. And the mysteries and the debates about who has the right data go away. Some of our results. Ending our data chase has saved IBM a remarkable amount of time and money. Customer support, we AI infused all of our customer support, so we have 20,000 customer support people who every day come into the office and their work queue is already defined for them by their AI model. AI tells them what to work on first. It tells them if something's going to break at a client site, it tells them that in advance so we can fix it in advance before we have a failure. In the last 2 years, we've driven 25 points of NPS improvement. Now that's crazy talk when you think about Net Promoter Score, but that's what's happened over the last few years just in our client support. Time to recovery is improved by 26% with AI enablement. Within IT modernization, we've moved all of our internal workflows to our IBM hybrid cloud. We've enabled all of our production workflows with Ansible playbooks. We don't have people watching servers and waiting for them to fail. We have Ansible and AI automation to do that for us. Digital labor, we have a tool called Ask HR. Normally when you have an HR question, you have to go to a website. You have to call an HR partner. At IBM, you have a digital agent where you can ask any question around HR. It'll answer the question globally. 94% of every employee HR question is answered by our digital agent. It saves you time, it saves the company time and money. You get your answer 24/7. It also now, we're getting into the agentic layer where it's actually doing transactions on your behalf. This is the phenomena that I see in every company that I talk to. Data is trapped in silos. If this looks familiar, by integrating our data into a single platform, we've eliminated the data chase. We've eliminated the debates and meetings that start to fall apart when people start to argue about the quality of their data, or where did you get the data from, when did you pull it, who did you get it from. All of that debate is gone in our company. We have a single source of operational truth. It's called Enterprise Performance Management at IBM. It's about 300 terabytes of integrated data. It's got 40,000 IBMers that use it to get their jobs done. We have a meeting in IBM called the operating team meeting. It's the senior most operational meeting we have in the company. It runs every 2 weeks, all year long, for 2 hours. It's hosted by our CEO and our CFO, and they invite our top 6 SVPs, and it's all about in-quarter operational execution. That meeting alone in IBM used to take 1,100 hours of PowerPoint preparation. Every 2 weeks, all year long. 3.5 years ago, I went to the CFO and I said, we need to walk the talk, and we need to use data on the glass and eliminate the PowerPoint craziness. And we did. So for 3.5 years, the operating team meeting of IBM has been run on the glass, no PowerPoints, no helpers. So the interface is simple enough where all of our SVPs can drill into data, can answer questions on the fly. We no longer have meetings sidelined because someone questioned the data, or maybe the CRO and the CHRO had different answers, right? That'll quickly dilute a meeting. So, how did we do this? Here's a kind of a simple orchestration of how we've done it. If you kind of read this chart bottom to top. So all of our internal workflows, as I mentioned, are on our hybrid cloud environment. We leverage both IBM public cloud as well as the hyperscaler products, wherever our workflows run is in the cloud. The enterprise data platform is the layer that we created that integrates all of our trusted data into a common data platform, following enterprise data standards. 5 years ago, IBM had 0 enterprise data standards. Today we have 565. That allows us to integrate data regardless of where it's born in the company. Could be a ledger system, it could be an HR system, it doesn't matter. We can align it across common dimensional keys. Our semantic layer is where the data comes together. We have a watsonx layer on top of that, which every IBMer has access to. So if you want to spin up an AI use case within your part of IBM, you can do that on top of our watsonx platform. You see the next layer is our agentic layer. That's where our different functions, where finance, where procurement, where source to pay, have been setting up their own AI use cases, their own agents. We got to the point in IBM a couple years ago, we had so many agents that IBMers didn't know what the name of the agent was to go access it. So we created an agentic layer above it, or the orchestration layer called Ask IBM. So any question you have about our company, a workflow, a process, you go to one place called Ask IBM. It's on our corporate intranet. It'll direct you to the agent that has the answer or the execution for you. Again, it's dramatically changed the way we run the company. We don't have armies of people that answer phone calls or answer questions. Our agents do it on our behalf. And we've gotten to the point in IBM where we prefer working with an agent because we can get an answer very quickly, literally in seconds, and we know where to go if there's a follow-up question. And one of the things we've done at IBM is changing your company to be an AI-enabled enterprise does require lots and lots of change management. And at IBM, we had to kind of use all of the typical change management techniques. So we've been doing something we call the watsonx challenge. So minimally once a year, we bring the entire company together, 280,000 employees, and we invite them to join in a few days of watsonx challenge, where they can self-form teams, and they can come up with a use case within their workflow for AI. And then they submit this to a bunch of people that then evaluate them in like a Shark Tank-like environment, and we give winners, and then we deploy their ideas into production. This year we did it in August, and we had 15,500 AI use cases come forward, of which we selected the top 75, which are going to go into production. But the wonderful thing about this is the catalyst for getting IBMers engaged in AI. How to use AI, how to not be afraid of AI, how to actually stand up a use case in production on your own. So this is just some of the results from our last one. And people have fun doing it. And it makes AI just achievable for everyone. So thank you very much for listening. I appreciate your time.